Welcome to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida's new and exciting weekly radio show. A show focused on businesses in Bay and surrounding counties. Business Between the Lines is hosted by Christy Kirkland, a business accelerator with Answer Marketing, and co-hosted by Ja'son Forte, a video guru with Riplify Media.
Hey, Ja'son.
Hey, Christy.
And welcome back, everyone, to ESPN Northwest Florida's hottest radio station show.
That's a new one. I like it.
Business Between the Lines for the 10% ultra entrepreneurs. We are here today to deliver you some power-packed tips and inspiration, motivation, and I'm sure a few laughs. Who do we have today with us?
So today we have Ja'son Forte from Royal Exteriors, and I had the opportunity twice within the last month to see him speak at different events at the A-Team and at the Chamber's Idea Camp, and it was amazing. So I'm going to read a little bit of info about Ja'son before we bring him on to just share some really good stuff. So for the last 10 years, he's been in the sales industry. The last 5 or 6 years, he's been specifically on the construction side. In 2013, he won the Crystal Award for team building. In 2016, he got the Entrepreneur of the Year award from Kansas City, Missouri. Some things to know about him is he was born and raised in Kansas, Missouri, home of the best barbecue in the world, apparently. I've never had it, but it's probably really good. He wouldn't lie. Fun facts about him. He said, my uncle was the first black police chief in Kansas City, Missouri, and was also the first black sheriff of Jackson County, Missouri. He enjoys working out, competing in bodybuilding shows, and he's got the guns to prove it.
Yes, he does.
He also loves to watch crime shows or whodunits type shows. So what keeps him motivated? He said, I have not achieved all my goals yet. One more day to crush it.
I love it.
That's good stuff. So don't go away. We'll be right back as Ja'son Forte comes and shares some of the magic that he's got for us.
Hey, Ja'son.
Hey, Christy.
Hey,
Ja'son.
Hello.
And welcome back, everyone, to Northwest Florida ESPN. I did it backwards again. It always happens. Business Between the Lines show. As promised, we have the amazing, awesome, inspirational, motivational, a very good friend, Ja'son Forte, with us today with Royal Exteriors. And he's basically going to lay some wisdom on us. He has a lot of quiet background that he doesn't let out, and then he lets it out and everybody goes, what? So tell us, right off the get-go, something that inspired you maybe this past month.
This past month, something that really inspired me was kind of enjoying the struggle, kind of enjoying seeing myself fail, because every day I wake up to fail. And most people think that's backwards, right? So you wake up to succeed, you don't wake up to fail. So through failing, through the struggle, through understanding that I'm making mistakes, I know that I'll have success. So a quick story was, someone said that I had a business partner who was talking to me, and they were like, most successful people have been bankrupt once in their life. Wow. And I was like, yes. Yeah. Most successful, that's the word, success. Right. Most successful people have been bankrupt at least once or twice in their life. But that word that they forgot that they were using was successful, right? Because there was pain, there was struggle, there was a hard time, there was a difficulty to get over with. And so every day when I wake up, I understand that I'm going to fail at something. I strive for that failure. But in that failure, I know that I'm learning, I know that I'm getting success, I know that I'm growing and moving forward. So what I try not to do, I try to work on myself and understanding that today might suck.
Right.
Today might be a bad day, right? But do you have a learning experience or do you have losses?
Right.
Right? So if I'm learning constantly, if I'm not taking true L's, right? We say taking an L, taking a dub, right? You know what I mean?
Not letting it totally shut you down.
Exactly. Because some people stop right where they are.
Yes.
We've all been there. We've all been in a rut. We've all been in a place of, okay, this is the end of the road. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You are not getting to where you want to today. You're going to be in a fetal position. You're going to cry. It's going to suck. And we all have those days. I'm no superhuman person, but what I understand is the development of the mind.
Right.
And when I don't take it personal, when I don't take my life personal, when I understand that this is a progress, this is process, this is growth, then every day I can wake up and, okay, yesterday was yesterday. But
Right.
why am I going to live yesterday today? Because now I've already wasted time today.
On something you can't change or fix.
Right.
Yeah, it's done.
So what would you say is like the normal way, whenever someone, like a typical way to see failure, to see like, okay, this is an off day, this is a day where like this client did this or this customer did this and everything's just off. What's the normal way that people respond that's not a good way? And then how can then we change our thinking to not respond the typical way, but respond in a way that you're talking about where we're springboarding forward?
Absolutely. Typical way is reactionary, right?
Okay.
If I punched you right now, what would be your reaction?
I'd be pretty angry.
Exactly. right.
Wouldn't have to think about it.
Exactly, right. So if I hauled off and I was like, pow, and I hit
Yeah.
you, you would want to react.
Yeah.
Right? So, but doesn't life hit you every single day?
Yeah.
Doesn't life hit all of us every single day?
Yeah.
And our reaction to that punch, to that life, is not always punching life back. Because you'd be punching the air, right? You're not really
Right.
hitting anything. But a lot of us, what we need to start doing is becoming accepting of what that punch really means. So in all of our industries, sometimes people hit you with maybe some bad words, some bad feelings, maybe a bad review, maybe your client isn't happy with you, maybe your kids aren't doing what you want to do.
Right.
But can we accept what's going on there? Or can I step back and see how can I interact with that person or what's going on? In my industry, I get a lot of people who are angry, but they're not angry at me.
Okay.
So I walk into a situation where someone might come at me aggressively. I understand they're not angry with me. They're angry with the situation. I'm just who they're pouring it out
And
to.
if you take it automatically, personally, and have that knee-jerk reaction, it's just going to keep escalating, and nothing's going to be resolved, and nobody's
Yeah.
going to be happy at the end of it. But if you're able to disconnect and step back and actually see the bigger picture and be like, this is probably not directed at me, there might be something behind that, and let me see if I can't help that person and diffuse it.
Absolutely. And that's where I like what you said, help that person and how can I diffuse it? Because right then, we're not reacting to that individual.
Right.
What we started to do is think.
Yeah.
You started to think. You've already moved into a place of not being defensive but offensive, and you're working towards that goal of, okay, how can I solve this person's problem or situation, right?
Right.
So if I punched you, you wouldn't say, I want to punch him back. You would want to say, why is he punching me?
Yeah.
Why do bullies bully people in school?
Yeah.
We always,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, all right, exactly. Everybody knows. Everybody goes,
Had
yeah.
that, yeah.
But we always know the bully is not bullying you because he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Because there's something
There's
underlying.
something else.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Right. And so that's life. Life's a bully.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. See, we told you.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
All right. So when you're in a situation like that, it's easy to say, step back and think. But what's a mindset thought that you can have? You know those training techniques where you're like, if I always wake up in the morning and say, today's going to be a good day.
Right.
And you automatically put your mindset in the right. Or I wake up and I'm on the wrong side of the bed and I'm like, I need 5 more minutes. You're just kind of setting the tone. But there should be phrases, and I'm sure everybody's got to come up with their own, but maybe something that clicks in your head that you can share to get people on that right
Like
track.
reprogramming in that moment where you've got the angry customer and like reprogramming your brain so that you realize, wait, they're not mad at me.
Right.
But like, how do you pause and think and realize that?
Yeah, you probably do it like automatically now because you've been doing it for
Right.
so
Yeah.
many times. But for somebody else out there that's listening to this and they've always had that knee-jerk reaction, that automatic defense, and hey, I've got to engage kind of a thing.
Right.
To be able to just stop and then let's give them a couple phrases that maybe they can start saying in their mind, like, this is not personal. This is not at me. Something like that. Is there anything that comes to mind that maybe you have used in the past or?
Correct. There are a bunch of phrases I use. You used a bunch of them. You know, this is not directed at me, blah, blah, blah. We're going to breathe. We're going to do all those things. And those are all things
Breathe
that
is
we need
mine.
to do.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
We were talking
need
about
to
that
take
before
a
we
breath.
started.
Take a deep breath. Right. Breathe. Because most of the time when someone's yelling at you, you're holding your breath.
Yeah.
That's that fight or flight. Right?
Oh,
we're,
yeah.
we're all tensed up. You know, we're all
Like,
tensed up.
I gotta be full of oxygen. I don't know what I'm gonna have to do, but I want to be ready. I want to be prepared.
Right. And
Yeah.
most of the time when we're in those situations, you know what we're ready to do? Respond. We're not listening to that person. We're ready to
Right.
do this.
Right.
And I have this thing in my mind about days of people. If it doesn't matter in 5 years, don't give it 5 minutes. If it's not going to matter in 5 years, don't give it 5 minutes. Give it 5 minutes, but then that's it. most of the time I try to give something 60 seconds, 30 seconds, because time is the most valuable thing you have that you can never get back. So why am I going to waste my time on something that's not going to matter? Because as soon as I leave that situation, it's over with.
Yeah.
Right? Worrying is like a rocking chair. It gives you something to do, but you're going nowhere. You can sit in a rocking chair all day, rocking back and forth, but you're going nowhere. That's what worrying is. That's what being reactionary is. That's what that pain and suffering and not dealing with it is. So when you give your 5 minutes, your 30 seconds, or whatever it is, whenever you need to look in the mirror and say, okay, I'm here. Let's get this day going. Right? That's what you need to have in mind. You have to have it in your holster.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you carry a gun and you ain't got no bullets in it, right. So we're
all for show.
Right. So you need to have that ammo ready, because every single day life's going to hand you a target. There's going to be an obstacle. There's going to be something. And if you're not prepared, you're not prepared. And it's training your mind to think differently. And so we've all got to go through that aspect of training our mind. And it's repetition day in and day out. Because who gets angry? Who gets upset? Who fails at the obstacles they're doing, right? This isn't something that you accomplish, in years. It's a lifetime of doing it step by step, over and over. Babies don't walk the first time, they fall. But when babies fall, what do? We tell them to get back up and we smile.
Yeah.
And we know they're going to fall. And we're not going to fall a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Over and over again until eventually they figure it out. But as a good parent, you don't say, oh, no, don't try to do that walking thing.
Right.
They're probably going to fall if you do that.
Exactly.
That is a very good tip, because we do, and I do reference a lot of stuff from the past, but I haven't gone back that far. But when a child falls and stuff, we don't freak and we're like, oh my God, and then instill in them that fear of trying something. We smile and we're like, yay, you tried, get back up. And we got to keep that.
But then we grow up and we won't tell that to ourselves. We're like, man, I fell today. Looks like I'm just never going to walk again.
So
Not
now
really into
when
the
we
walking
get
thing.
something really bad, we're all going to stand up and we're going to be like, yeah.
Well, Ja'son, thank you so much for coming up here. Guys, stay tuned. Christy and I are going to be right back. After this, we could probably talk for an hour. So we're going to be back right after this. Stay tuned.
Live and local sports, high school sports, college football, the NFL, the Atlanta Braves, the Dan Patrick Show, the Herd with Colin Cowherd, the James Hale Show, the Coach's Daughter Show. Sports, we cover it all. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Christy.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you did not miss that, and I hope you had a pen and a paper and was scrambling to write, or if not, pause, rewind.
As soon as he walked out of the door, I was like, I can't forget this.
Ja'son definitely laid it out there. I hope everyone got a wealth of tips. I know he reinforced a lot of the things that I already used, but then expanded on those. And I mean, we were counting mic drop moments, and we were like 3, 4, 5. I was like, So you
really
guys
good.
know we're going to have him back on the show. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
We'll get him back out here and drop some more tips for you and everything. But Ja'son, what are some of the...
The first thing that he said that I really liked was about him being in the construction industry and walking up to doors where a lot of the times people are angry but not angry at him, and how it's easy to just react and be offended and then, then punch back as they punch forward. But take a breath, think before you react, and understand what sort of scenario they're walking through. Because in his scenario, that person just dealt with a bunch of crummy contractors that didn't finish the work, and then Royal Exteriors is coming in to do it right.
To fix it, yeah.
So they're stressed out. Yeah. And that was reminding me of whenever, I don't remember what episode it was, but whenever Matt Glover with Aero Pest Service, whenever he was on, and he was talking about a very similar thing. He walked up to someone's door, and you had to go back and watch that episode, but it was a phenomenal story, all because he didn't react. He took a second, and he did some thinking.
Yeah, and he's like, whoa. All right, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Where's this coming from, and how can I help you?
Looking behind the initial thing. Also, I heard this week, so it's funny he's talking about this, that anger is always a secondary emotion, never a primary emotion. You're never angry just for the sake of being angry. You're angry because of something else that's
triggered
deeper.
It.
So don't address people's anger and try to figure out why they're angry, which is what Ja'son said. Not why did this person punch me, instead of like, okay, fine, I'm going to punch them back.
Right. And honestly, I mean, if you think about it, sometimes it's better to react with no reaction. So
Okay.
when it's one of those things, you can, inside of you, when somebody engages you, don't do that and go into that defense mode where you're, like you said, punch, you
Yeah.
know, and keep going back and forth. You can react. You can start doing that thinking process and stuff in there. But when you're engaged with somebody that is already angry and upset and coming at you, and it's not really directed at you, you're going to react with no reaction. But you also have to kind of watch your body language.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people have conversations where the person that's upset keeps escalating. And if you look at it from a distance, the other person that they're talking to is not reacting, but their body language shows like they're defensive.
Yeah.
And that person is feeding off of all of those emotions that are coming at them, whether it's verbalized or whether it's physical.
It's all reactionary.
Right.
It's all instinctive.
So when you're in that mode and you react without reacting, and you're starting to think, hey, how can I diffuse this situation? How can I help this person? Remember your body language.
Yeah.
Open yourself up, accept it, because it's not directed at you. Don't take it personally, but make sure that you're open and engaged, looking at them fully, listening with the intent, like we had one of our last speakers, or a speaker in our past, Karen, listen with the intent to hear and understand.
Not to respond.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when it's appropriate, step in there and help them.
Yeah, because most of the time, if someone comes at you and they're angry, or they're angry at you, they're not actually going to beat you up.
Right.
Like, we use the term throw a punch. They're probably not going to actually throw a punch. Like, it's not like you really need to be on the defensive for your safety. It's like in your head. It's like, oh, I need to be ready. Like, ready for what? They're just upset.
Yeah.
Give
And
it a
I know
second.
in the break we talked, in the break and before we even started this, we were talking about some of these techniques and stuff, and it was weird that he jumped onto that topic and we didn't even bring that up. But we were talking about my technique, which is breathing, and he mentioned that as well. And it's a thought and an action that I take whenever I'm engaged in something that could turn confrontational. I hear it in my mind, breathe, and then I actually do my 10 breaths, and I'm like, get myself into that mode.
It's amazing what, like, just getting oxygen to your brain just helps you to process all this stuff quicker, and to calm down.
Do that.
Yeah.
Do that whole reactionary thing. But I do that sometimes, if a client of mine, I love all my clients, but some of them, I know they're going through stuff and they might be a little bit more trying than other ones. And if they call, I want to be in the best frame of mind to be able to help them. I might not automatically answer on the first ring. I might need to do my... and prepare myself to actually be able to help them and not take whatever comes right at the get-go. I'm gratefully blessed and surprised if they say, hey, how's it going? I'm like, yes, it's going to be a good day.
Yep.
But they come in, I need this.
And I had to do this right before we were getting ready to get started. I received a message of somebody kind of backing out of something, and I was just frustrated, because it's like they said they were good, and then they're like, I'm not actually, good anymore. And, I'm very much like I signed a contract kind of at the end. So there's no contract signed, anything yet. So it's frustrating. I'm like, you said you were good, and I was excited, and we were planning, we're moving forward.
Right.
But then I got to remember, like, okay, how many times have I been in the scenario where I think I'm good for something, and then I realize, like, actually I need to take a step back? Or thinking about the person's life, which is what, like, Ja'son was thinking, what sort of scenarios are they walking through right now? What are their experiences? What are they dealing with? And how can I be the best me, like, in this moment? And just reacting with, how dare you? You said this and this and this and this. That's not going to help me, and it's not going to help them.
Yeah, and a very strong, another mic drop moment that he put that everybody needs to repeat every single morning when they get up is, if it's not going to matter 5 years in the forward, then don't let it affect you 5 minutes from now. Just let it roll. Let it roll.
Yeah.
It's like you don't want to hold on to that. And if whatever you are dealing with at the moment, things pass. And that, I mean, that's why we got history. That's why we got a pass.
Yeah.
It's going to pass, and it's going, but in the moment, it is the most important thing in that time frame, and it does affect us. It affects us very deeply. We are an emotional human nation, and we have to just find these little techniques, these little inspirational tidbits that we can glean from other people that have found a way to get past reactionary moments and just build a better society, build a better communication process and stuff. And sometimes it starts with us because the person we're dealing with hasn't been elevated to that mindset yet. And so
But hey, I mean, that's the whole reason why we
on.
have this show
Right.
is because, I mean, we get to have experiences like listening to Ja'son, and
Right.
a lot of our listeners probably never have heard him unless they were at, Idea Camper or seen him around the community.
Or 18.
But like
Yep.
all of us, we now all get to then glean what we learned from, Ja'son. And the biggest thing that I took away, definitely a worrier. So whenever he was talking about worry, I was like, oh, wow. Because I'm like, I just, went full-time in my business. I just took all these loans. I'm starting a video studio. I'm like,
Lots
signed
of
a
big
year-long lease. Like, I've all these new experiences that are all like big money.
Ja'son is adulting.
I'm adulting for the first time. So there's a lot of worry. It's like, am I going to be able to close enough deals? I'm going to be able to do this. I'm going to be able to serve my people. I'm going to be a good member of the community. Like, all these things. And he said, worry is like a rocking chair. You spend all the time just going back and forth, worrying and roaring, and where do you go?
Yep,
Nowhere. Worry doesn't get you anywhere.
Right.
And I think that Ja'son, on his best days, the days he strives to, he's not doing much worrying. Even though there's things to worry about, he's focusing on, well, what do I need to do? What's my action for the day? Let me take my breaths. Let me reassess the situation and then get into it.
Yeah, and he starts his day with that mindset. I know
We didn't talk about it. The dude starts his day with a freaking cold shower.
Like on purpose.
On purpose. He has a hot water heater. He starts the day with a cold shower just so he intentionally wants to give himself a little bit of discomfort.
100.
Yeah. I think he gets up at like 4 a.m. or something.
So he has a packed life like a lot of us do, but he has decided to be my best and to live my best life. I'm going to have to make some sacrifices, and those sacrifices require me to get up a little bit earlier and start my day with a bang, which is that cold shower. And I was like, I'm one of those people with the personalities that I love a challenge.
Yeah.
And so when he said that, I was like, ooh, that would suck. And I was like, okay, challenge accepted. And my hairdresser did say if I wash with cold water, my color will stay better.
Oh, okay.
So I had a win-win kind of situation here. I'm like, I'm going to accomplish this. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to do something crazy and out of the box, and my hair will love me for it. So I went ahead and I started doing the cold shower, and I will tell you, after the first couple of them, it was not a fabulous, I'm not going to lie to you, it was not a fabulous experience the first time, but it does make a change. It does help you build that mindset. So don't be afraid. Jump out there and get it done.
That's right. All right, so we're running out of time. So it's our time to get out of here. Huge shout out to our amazing sponsors, Vortex Spring, Highland Finance, and Aero Pest Service, for being involved with our show and allowing these things to happen. Guys, if you are like a Ja'son, where you take your cold showers in the morning, or maybe you don't, or you know somebody that has these sort of tips, they have a lifestyle where they're always learning and they're always getting better, and they've got some sort of story to share. If you've got a story to share that you really think would benefit the business community, and like Chrissy said at the beginning, the top 10% entrepreneurs that are in our area, we would love to have you on the show. And you can do that by reaching out to our Facebook page, Business Between the Lines. Until then, we'll see you guys next Sunday, 8 a.m. for Business Between the Lines.
Thanks for listening to Business Between the Lines. Join us every Sunday morning beginning at 8 on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.